I'm excited to introduce Yolantis. She is an accomplished web designer and artist who has been a vital part of the Web3 community since 2022. With 24 years of web design and technical communication, Yolantis focuses on digital accessibility, ensuring inclusive user experiences. Today, she will share her unique perspective on enhancing accessibility in Web3 and her initiatives for affordable user testing. Thank you, Yolantis. Please share with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Well, my name is Jessica, and my artist name is Yolantis. My pronouns are she, her. My avatar is wearing a white ponytail hairstyle and a futuristic jumpsuit with straps by Tommy Parallel. If you've seen or heard the name Yolantis before, it's because I've been creating AI art and posting about it on X since 2022. I've made NFTs on ETH, on Tezos, Polygon, and Base. I've attended 3 ETH Denver events. 2 of them, I was a holder of the Buffacorn NFT, which makes me a member of the Spork DAO. I've built my own metaverse art galleries on several different platforms. I love the promise of the metaverse and the promise of Web3. Yet I keep hearing we're still early, even 2 years after I started paying attention. So Web3 is read, write, own. Own your data. Why? Because it's decentralized. The World Economic Forum published an article in February of 22 about Web3, and the section I liked is titled Web3 in its Infancy. It says, significant widespread development, consolidation, and accessibility efforts are needed before the Web3 vision is realized, if at all. Accessibility efforts, it said. Can you see my visual aid here? It's on the block I'm standing on in my my portal, in my booth, and it says A11Y. Does anyone know what that means? It's a numeronym for accessibility because 11 letters were cut out of the middle of the word. So it's apropos because you could also see it as ally. I'm an ally. Let me tell you about my career. I've been in the world of websites for 24 years. I started with my associate's degree in multimedia graphic design. I've been a graphic designer, interactive designer, webmaster, and I've built websites by hand from the Bootstrap framework. Plus, I've used a large handful of content management systems. I've migrated thousands of pages of web content from one system to another. I worked on web teams at the federal government level and on the state government level, maintaining what was already there and building intranets, extranets, and public sites. And now I work for an environmental consultancy as a virtual public engagement specialist, also building websites. I earned my bachelor degree in technical communications, and I've been a member of the Society for Technical Communication, even giving a presentation on accessibility during their summit 2020, right when they had to pivot from in-person summits to virtual. We did a simulive for that one. So government websites are supposed to pass audits for web content accessibility. I have been learning about how to design and code for accessibility since 2011. The word accessibility, when used this way, means preparing content so that the widest amount of people can receive that content, no matter if they cannot use a mouse or can't see the visual content or can't hear the auditory portions. Digital accessibility means understanding how to prepare content for users who may have disabilities in the broad categories such as visual, auditory, motor, and cognitive. I've attended from 80 to 100 accessibility-related workshops. I have led workshops and panel discussions on this topic, and I have taught roughly 50 to 70 new content managers individually how to prepare accessible content for the web in their state jobs. Now, I don't have a disability, but I specialize in accessibility simply because I have been in the public sector for so long. And the work of our web teams is supposed to comply with the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, which are a set of strategies for us to follow with some clear success and failure criteria. So quite literally, I specialize in teaching people how to put stuff on the web. I don't code in C# or C++ or React on the back end, but I do write HTML and CSS. I can also plan design systems in Figma, and I know how to jump through all of the hoops to try and make slide decks and Word docs and InDesign documents into accessible PDFs. So are you still with me? Have I lost you yet? Did you know? That's great to hear. Did you know that even if you're an artist, a surface,
I truly did not know. It's amazing. Keep on going.
Okay, thank you. Did you know that even if you're an artist, a surface pattern designer, a game designer, a musician like some of us here, an event planner, a personal life coach, a personal trainer, or a tax specialist, that if you ever prepare stuff for your website, that you would benefit from knowing the basics of accessibility. And so this is where, my headspace has been at for so long. It's like, who is going to take the role of preparing your things to be accessible? Everybody likes to point to somebody else. But I'm telling you, you content creators, you're making stuff to be digitally available. It's your responsibility to make it accessible. And you need to also take it upon yourself to learn about it. Let me continue. So Web3 leaders, as you build new wallets, dApps, marketplaces, and experiences on the immutable blockchain, wouldn't it be in everyone's best interest if you got usability and accessibility right the first time? So when I started taking Gitcoin tutorials in 2022, I was unpleasantly shocked at the terrible user experience I had while trying to learn how to use Web3 stuff. Didn't they ever do usability tests? Who was coding these experiences? Was it just a ragtag handful of back-end engineers who got very excited at the prospect of the blockchain, so they rushed off to make stuff without the help of the tried and true usability experts? That's what it felt like to me. Hadn't they heard of the Nielsen-Norman Group, who have been leaders in the UX field since 1998? And if you didn't know, now you know. Write this down. On YouTube, Nielsen-Norman Group are NN Group. And thank me later. So a usability test is where owners of websites get to learn how their intended audience actually experiences their content through a controlled, observed walkthrough of the user doing some tasks and talking aloud while navigating the website. In the very best case scenarios, companies would also invite users with the lived experience of different disabilities to test their website. And let me tell you, that almost never happens. But in the best case scenario, it would. So a professional usability test at the enterprise level, we're talking huge corporations wanting feedback on their own content. It would cost maybe 150,000 US. A mid-sized company could spend $15,000 and up for a comprehensive usability test. And a very basic professional usability review could cost from $5,000 to $10,000. And I am building something that would sort of crowdsource usability tests on a grassroots level and bring them into a very affordable price range for builders with small budgets. Now, I'm here to give you some golden nuggets, so here they come. I have been thinking hard about the best way to introduce the concept of accessibility to a small business person, an artist, a solopreneur, an entrepreneur. It's a big topic and a bit dry sometimes. I mean, when I would give tutorials to groups, I would see that deer in the headlights glazed over look come on their faces if I give out too many technical terms. So I've condensed my 20 years of knowledge into these 5 building block concepts. So if you are building something in Web3, all of this applies to the content you create, just like in Web2. You ready? Here's my building block number 1. Color contrast. It's the lowest hanging fruit of accessibility. It helps the most amount of people when you can remember the golden rule to never use color alone to convey important information. Colors, when used in charts, graphs, infographics, need to be differentiated from each other, even to people with different types of color vision deficiencies. For instance, are you using red and green to show important status updates in a game or a quiz? Well, red-green color blindness means that red and green look indistinguishable to some people. If you were to toss in one other variable, like a stripe or a pattern on your red area, then the two would be distinguishable to everyone. That's why there is a US standard in traffic lights, where the green is always on the bottom, red is always at the top. And that way, you can combine location with color to convey a very, very important meaning. So building block number 2, heading hierarchy. Did you know that simply using 24-point bold text is not enough to turn it into a heading? So we are making content not just for people, but for software. People with vision loss use screen reading software that announces headings, but only if it's marked up correctly in their native software like Word with an H2 tag. Building block number 3, alternative text for image. If an image adds meaning to your experience, then it needs alt text for screen reading software to announce. Even in a document, y'all, even in a slideshow that's going to be turned into a PDF, even on social media, and especially on a website or other experience in a browser. I have seen NFT marketplaces that have no place for artists to add alternative text to their NFTs, forcing us to either skip it entirely or use the description area for alt text. I'm seeing some UX UI in Web3 is a must comments. This is great. And I'm glad to see comments that say, this is so helpful. Thank you very much. I'm going to go on to the last one, building block that wait, no, I have 5 building blocks. So here we are to number 4, descriptive link text. Can I just say, no more click here as your only link text. No more click here. The words you highlight to turn into a link should describe where the user is going to land. And in your games and your interactive experiences, you can also use code to have a screen reading software announce some meaningful link text when an image is your link. Now, I have audited some learning management system stuff that are quizzes and interactive training solutions where the backend developers had no idea about like accessibility. And so it was completely inaccessible to somebody with a screen reading usage. Like the arrows to move forward to the next slide were not even labeled correctly. So they didn't even know there were arrows there. Okay, building block 5, keyboard only navigation, y'all. Please just try this. Hide, not here in Spatial because Spatial isn't really that accessible, but on your websites, please hide the mouse from yourself for 5 minutes on a website and try to do a task on your own site. When you hit tab, can you find where your focus went? Does the tabbing go in order or does it jump around? If you need to sign into a wallet in a different tab or a modal window, can you get back to your starting website without the mouse? So this is a big, big complaint that I hear from users with disabilities, that they cannot even complete a Web3 sign-in using keyboard alone. All right, if you learned something new today, you have just increased your digital literacy. I invite you to register for my upcoming free webinar next week. The QR code is here on my booth so that you can go much more in depth with my building blocks. Use the QR code to register or find my portal at my Yolantis booth to get the registration link at my website. My website is yolantisart.com and my business name is Yolantis Art Studio and Website Mentor. I am building something for indie content creators and website owners to be able to get easy and affordable access to user testing and education about how to make stuff accessible in the first place. I am using my own wisdom bot based on my years and years of videos that I've been making tutorials for how to put stuff on the web. And I want us to build Web3 with inclusion in mind, and that starts with education. I can't wait to tell you more about it during my webinar next week. My life's work has taught me that digital accessibility should not be an afterthought. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yolantis, this is amazing information. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And I hope everybody will learn from you. There's going to be so much information that I want to learn as well. But
Thank you.
only the beautiful websites were accessible for everyone and everything working well. So I'm looking forward to learn from you, Yolantis. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy. Thank you. I'm having a great time today.
I encourage everybody to sign up. If you, yeah, hi, Wiley.
It's not a question, just a thank you to Yolantis, because this wasn't on my radar, right? Sometimes we all have our own thing that we're trying to accomplish, and we need more people that can advocate for communities like this. Like I am now this is in my forefront, and it wasn't before. So thank you
Yes.
so much for, yeah, thank you.
Hooray to increasing your digital literacy. And this is what I call digital literacy. It's understanding that software consumes your content, and software, like parsing your content through to users who can't see your content, is really, really important. We can talk. I mean, we have Mitch here who probably knows about lawsuits having to do with digital accessibility, and the rules are changing fast, you all. Colorado itself has enforced some, like any website that is getting government funding through federal or state monies should also comply with the WCAG, which is the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. So if like you're an indie and you're getting a grant, oof, you need to know some of these things. Thank you. Thank you. Creative Owls registered. Woo. I am kicking it off, y'all. I'm grassroots.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm about to register the.
yeah, everybody real quick. Yeah, all you have to do is scan the QR code and register. It's a free event. Is that correct, Yolantis?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to charge for the webinar. No, that's free. And I'm going to go more in depth into the building blocks so that you can get more real life examples.